Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. What a great crowd. Welcome to Poet Laureate Presents River of Words. My name is Tom Cull. I am the Poet Laureate for the City of London, a program that is sponsored by the London Arts Council, who is our funders for this programming today. So we thank our sponsors. And of course, we also thank Words for inviting us here to this space. Today's installment, which will be the last installment of Poet Laureate Presents, takes Deshkan Ziibi, or the Thames River, as its inspiration and thematic focus. So what you're in for is 3 20-minute sets of collaborations between storytellers, poets, musicians, interdisciplinary artists. To begin us off, we have a bit of a treat today. I'm going to introduce you to the other artists in a second, but to kick us off, we have a poetry recitation from Sydney Gilchrist. Now, Sydney is a former London Central secondary student who participated in a competition called Poetry in Voice. And some of you might know Poetry in Voice, but Poetry in Voice is a charitable organization that encourages Canadian students to fall in love with poetry through reading, recitation, and writing. It was founded in 2010 by Scott Griffin, who you'll know as the chairman and founder of the Griffin Trust for Excellence in Poetry. And it started as a recitation contest with 12 schools in Ontario, and it has grown to become a cultural force in Canada. It's used in over 1,000 schools. Poets now go in and visit classrooms and talk to students about poetry. And then there are these great Poetry in Voice competitions. I've had the pleasure of judging 2 of them, and they're so much fun. Sydney is currently an MSW candidate at the University of Toronto, and today she'll be reciting Kevin Connolly's poem, Plenty. And this is a poem that took Sydney all the way to 2nd place in Toronto at the Nationals. So please help me welcoming Sydney.
This is Plenty by Kevin Connolly. The sky, lit up like a question or an applause meter, is beautiful like everything else today. The leaves in the gutters, salt stains on shoes, the girl at the IGA who looks just like Julie Delpy, but you don't tell her. She's too young to get the reference, and coming from you, it'll just seem creepy. So much beauty today, you can't find room for it. Closets already filled with beautiful trees and smells and glances and clever turns of phrase. Behind the sky, there's a storm on the way, which, with your luck, will be a beautiful storm. Dark clouds, beautiful as they arguably are. The rain, beautiful as it always is. Even lightning can be beautiful in a scary kind of way. There's a word for that, but let's forget it for the moment. And maybe the sun will hang in long enough to light up a few raindrops, like jewels or glass, or those bright beads girls put between the letters on the bracelets that spell out their beautiful names. Sky or Miranda or Veranda, which isn't even a name, although it is a word we use to call things what they are, and would be a pleasant place to sit and watch the beautiful sky, beautiful storm, the people with their beautiful names walking toward the lake in lovely clothing, saying unpleasant things over the phone about the people they work with. All of it just adding to the motherlode, the surfeit of beauty, which on this day is just a fancy way of saying lots. Too much. Skidloads. Plenty.
Thank you, Sydney. Thank you so much. It's great. I love that poem. So in recent years, there's been an interest and number of initiatives in London centered around this idea of us going back to the river. Our city is in the midst of a Back to the River revitalization project, and I think it's fair to say that we are perhaps and hopefully turning our collective eyes to rediscovering this beautiful living entity that runs through our city. The river is literally the reason we are all in this room today. A river flows through all of the relationships in this room because, of course, this city was founded on the forks of the river. And while it is great that we are reconnecting with the river, I do think we need to interrogate what we mean by going back to the river. Going back implies that we are returning perhaps to a golden age of harmonious relationship with the river, and of course, this is a myth. The challenge that our river faces today, phosphorus loading, pollution, plastics, habitat degradation, sewage, these problems are the consequences of an unchanged orientation towards the river, a relationship with the river that goes back to the very colonial foundation of this city. So I think we do not want to go back, we want to go forward. Forward through finding a new relationship, a new covenant with the river, and this is where the arts are so important, I think, because art can help us forge this new relationship. The arts can help us imagine new agreements with the water and the animals and the plants that call these waters their home. And central to this relationship is an acknowledgement, of course, of the indigenous peoples whose territories the rivers ran and run through, original peoples for whom the river was transportation, sustenance, sacred space. These peoples were the Ottawadoran or neutral peoples and are the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Lenni Lenape peoples. Deshkan Ziibi, the Thames, also connects London to the present-day First Nations downstream from us here in London. Those nations are, of course, the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, the Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. The articulation of these land acknowledgements are more than simply opening remarks. They are speech acts that are meant to enact and renew a foundational relationship with the land, the river, the original caretakers, and all the indigenous people from across Turtle Island who now reside in London. Our multiple histories flow together from then to now, from now to then. So with forging a new relationship in mind, it is my great pleasure today to begin our event, our performance, with a performance entitled Reverie, a collaboration between Penn, Kemp, and Mary MacDonald. Penn is a poet, performer, and playwright. She is a literary force, a literary voice, and a lovely host of afternoon tea. She is, of course, London's inaugural Poet Laureate, and the reason that I get to now assume the role. And she joins us today, having just returned from a writer in residency in BC. Joining her is Mary MacDonald, who is a London-based writer, multimedia artist, who is passionate about community participation in the arts and ways in which technology can bring art into community and natural spaces. So at this point, I will pass you over to them. Please help welcome Penn and Mary.
I'd like to begin by thanking Tom for inviting us to be part of River of Words. I'd also like to acknowledge the generous support of the London Arts Council through their Community Arts Investment Program grant and the support of Libro Credit Unit for the creation for the creation of Reverie, which is an augmented reality art exhibit. Half of it's here. Actually, this is just the beginning. There's another half that is yet to be created, but this is half of what's done already. The other half is right now set up in the center of the Forks. Please come visit us. You can augment your reality with art. You scan the codes and you get short films live on your phone. So when Tom invited us to participate, he talked about the Back to the River project that happened in 2008. And when I looked at the project, what struck me was the varied responses, so many different forms of artistic expression. So to honor their work, I created a river of their artwork. Penn and I have embarked upon a collaboration which is adding our story and our thoughts about the river. So, Penn.
Yes, you can see what Mary's done with my poems and the river on reverie.ca, also on Instagram if you do that sort of thing. This is the title poem from River Reverie, and it is called River Reverie. And it's coming out from Insomniac Press, which is a very apt title for me at the moment. And that will be in the fall of 2019, so see you back here then. Water abounds here with the river 5 times normal width for winter, flooding roads and parks. A swell carries whole trees along stampeding currents. Yellow willows drop 50-year-old boughs in high winds. Standing waves cover our usual walking path. Climate change is certainly upon us. From 11 below to 11 above in hours and sinking back below freezing. Weird how all reverberates in spring clarity as old detritus is dredged. Green begins to bury the remnants of flood. The wall of last fall's leaves packed level against link fence. The current courses by standing waves, standing in momentary eddies against momentum. My rant runs along the river in long twilight along the shore, a migratory route for warblers lighting in cottonwood, a trill unknown we cannot now locate. Since sound is not where sight is, and the willows are leafing out, leaving out the paw-tracked mud, the grocery cart obliterated by winter storm back to origin, a mess of twisted rust like an old fishing weir. The current courses by standing waves, standing in momentary eddies against momentum.
So for our collaboration, I've created short films from Penn's poetry. And it's also a big part of it is a community art participation project, which if you'd like to visit me or visit our table down in the center of the Forks, we can tell you all about that. This one is Silicon Valley.
Remember the days when silicon was an element central to sand? The sense of grit between your toes by the river, just beyond the reverberating slap of the old screen against the door jamb, where wood never quite met wood and was kept together by hook and eye. It was revolutionary then to discover silicon also sprouted in the segments of scrawny horsetail that surrounded the house as soon as sand met any sort of soil. You'd chew the stalk thoughtfully, its brittle twist into saliva, thinking, dinosaur.
jumble of horsetail. And then the thud of approaching brontosaurus, its jaws dripping green weeds the size of trees. Its wet eye, unable to focus on anything as small as you at 7.
Isn't she fabulous? It is such a treat to see words on a page. Yes, I can sound them out, but to feel them realized in so many other dimensions, art forms, music and visuals. I love collaboration with such a wonderful woman. Doctrine of signatures. Seasons have their hues. Well, this is wishful thinking. Ours is sun-steeped, translucence lit from within till it brims over. Interjections interrupt a trail we conceive as real. The present as gift, as presence, the only possible way through, way in, memories way in, wedged as if they were real. Future impinges as if secure. Females done beside their bolder mates, goldfinch, cross the sky in graceful loops of liquid flight, and song sway on green fronds that bow under light weight to the doctrine of signatures. Cedar or bohemian waxwings twitter among bare boughs on their way warmward. She's on her way warmward.
No, keep going.
Goldfinch, cardinal, dragonfly, all hightailing it on the updraft, waiting for wind to shift at the red round of setting sun. The flock, a light and lilt, lift on a single breath, south, south, sweet wind carry them safe, light flight. Goldenrod scimitars flash, solid arabesques of late summer, late afternoon, late in our lives for such luminous entrance. And that was for Ruth, who's here, who actually danced that poem at Aeolian Hall in a performance we did that became a DVD called Luminous Entrance. How's our time? Do I have time for it? All right. This is my last poem for you, but you'll hear more. Winds chime. Poets give voice to the voiceless, the language we don't understand. A breeze ripples throughout all the aspen siblings down to roots they share across a single source. Source, spring, sing, sorcery. A single tree may live a century in clonal colonies while its system of roots lasts millennia as the oldest living organism. What would one trembling giant whisper across the river to its neighboring clone? Hold on, hold fast. Changing, elemental mingle in slow, shaky sibilance, and silver leaves quake response. Thank you.
I'll close our section with the last film called Wishing Well. And we'd like to thank all of you for coming. And please visit us downstairs to find out about the community art participation.
Wishing well. I'm a river widened by misery, and the potency of my language is more than to as mellow heartberries. Something about truth, about not needing belief or creed to open up to all that is out there. Blue sky is enough to take me, a river, the thought so wide, it expands its own boundaries, beyond, so utterly beyond. Aspiration in action. To become that whole, that full, is all I desire. And also desire. The thing about women from the river is that our currents are endless. We sometimes outrun ourselves. Therese Melot, Heartberries.
Thank you, Penn and Mary, thank you for that. Thank you for starting us off. Next up, we have a collaboration involving 3 musicians, 1 multimedia artist, and 1 poet. Our musicians are Christina, Wlllet, and Andrew Wenaus, and together they perform as Wormwood. We also have Max Lucas, who is a London musician and artist, and then Peter LaBelle, who is not on stage but up in the, the tower of technology, is a mixed media artist who created the video component of this presentation. It's one piece that we have, one piece that we've done together. Please welcome this group of great artists. And I think we can bring the lights down too. Check. I wade below the Hunt Weir, where the dam drops the river into vortices of water. Pulled by swirling eddies, I net plastic bottles, cans, Tim Hortons cups, a flip-flop, diaper, needles caught in the elliptical froth. Anglers eye me cautiously One pulls a carp from the depths, its carnival colors like backyard koi. I catch a neon pink stuffy snagged on a branch and toss it back on shore. The river transports to the Pacific our dollar store pottage. We'll all live there soon. We'll all live there soon. We'll all live there soon. Fog catchers, salted, dried, and hung, building our empire on the flotsam jetsam filtered by rivers. Ce n'est pas une rivière. Ce n'est pas une rivière. Outside it slithers, past the workers rebuilding the London dike. But the waters will have their way. They will again break these banks, drown us in our beds, carry our bloated bodies aloft downstream, jostled like frat boys in blow-up sumo suits. It is the dawning of the age of aquariums. What does the river convey? What does the river convey? It is hard to say. Wood, cement, grain, rice, chair, inkjet, markers, watercolors, crayon, rag and paper, acrylic, charcoal, sulfur stuffing, glass beads, duct tape. Printed on, etched on, cut out, glazed. Your brush will paint blue-green algae on a canvas of purchase value. It is hard to say. Ask a Ziibi. Amber River, La Tronche, the Thames, Deshkan Ziibi. All the tangled narratives. All the tangled narratives. All the tangled narratives in the abandoned place. In the abandoned place. At Ripley's Aquarium. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 There's a hairline crack. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. The paddlefish see it. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Swim, mouths agape. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Water presses against the pane. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Roads to sneak across the road, slip into Lake Ontario. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 Our toddler runs wild in rainbow wreaths. There's a hairline crack cranking knobs on video screens. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 Plastic cup throwers wave to the beat. Xylophonics piped through dark conveyor belt corridors. Pairs transformed into inductive minutes of ecstasy. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. There's a hairline crack in the 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 Great Lakes. Through the window. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Through the window. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Through the window, I see starving men singing to sleep. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 They die wave after wave, descent. Circular buildings smell like hamburgers. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 Inside Picture Hill. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 The taste of glass starts to sweat. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. Starts to sweat. There's a hairline crack in the Great Lakes. 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 There's a hairline crack
Check. All right. Thank you. We have one final presenter, this afternoon. His name is Vera. He's a Gichita from Nyashingming. Vera and I have talked a lot about the river, and every time we do talk, it seems to be down at the river where we were having our conversations about his performance today. And it seems to be every time we talk, it's at the river. We find ourselves at the river. So I'm just very happy to pass things over to him at this point. Please help me welcome Vera.
Can everyone hear me okay right now before we get the mic set up? Just to open this up, I just want to begin in the best way I can. I just want to say thank you much to Tom for opening it up in the way that he did. There's a way that I'm from two nations. I'm from the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe. I'm Oneida and Ojibwe. And we have this thing that we say before you start any meeting, which is the words that come before anything else. And it's real long, like a half an hour long. And I wish I could know the whole thing, but I don't know my language fluently, but I do know a lot. And so I just wanna do that and just welcome it, because I was gonna say it's a big deal to be here at the museum because it's it's in London, but I gotta remember this is my home, right at the Forks, and it's always been home. So I just want to begin with Chimi Gwech Kajamadido, Chimi Gwech Nivish, Aki Shkode, Chibi Migwech Chinoden, Migwecha Anongnin and Anongque, Migwech Mishomas, and Migwech Nokomas. Migwech for Hun Nashoni, Migwech Nasnabe, Migwech for Gioshkad, Gichini Bish. And so what all I was saying was, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being here. First, I thanked, everyone, all my family before me, and thank you for being here, because it's the first people I acknowledge. Another thing is I thank the land, thank the water, thank the air, the sky. And when we thank those things, it's not a metaphor. I'm truly grateful for all those things. Another thing I said thank you to the stars. Thank you to my grandmother, and thank you to my grandfather. And I said thank you to the stars because one of the things I was taught is, no matter how hard it's here, we got to remember, just, look up. It's an amazing place that we live. So anyways, I'm going to get my sandals set up. Hello. Mic one. Isn't this a lot of fun? So, I got 20 minutes, I was told. I'm probably using some of that up right now. Well, the way I want to begin is I wrote a poem because I heard it's Words Fest, and I was like, I've done a lot of writing. I've never spoken before. This is like a big deal. I play lots of music, but I want to consider myself a musician. So before I begin, I just want to recite this poem that I tried very, very hard to remember. And I wrote it for, my family's got a long history in the city. I'm the third man to grow up in this city, but that's three men that didn't really know each other. My grandfather came here in the war. My father grew up here, and I grew up here. And, I always felt I didn't belong here in London. But the more and more I know that this place is home, I've had a really long, interesting experience with it. So here's a poem, and it's dedicated to my Uncle Bill and my best friend Jean. And I wrote it for them and anyone who's ever been in this city, who's ever really struggled with what it meant to be here. And so here it goes. Down to the water where 1,000 Nadjiwon have bled, down to the banks, the muddy banks I am led. There I sit and watch the river flow, and think of all the things that the day once knew. Before there was a savage wind from the east, before there was Christ and the priest, we used to pray just to the water. We were its sons and daughters. Now they tell us to pray to Jesus. With broken heart, the only place I pray is in the St. Regis. Here I sit on these muddy banks, and still grateful, and here I say thanks. Because for all the blood that has been bled, back to the river we are led. Because no matter if the lords of men deceive us, for warriors, the love of Deshkan Ziibi will never leave us. Oh, miigwech. Can you hear my guitar okay? Well, first I'm just going to talk a little bit because I got 20 minutes and only got one song. I really do just want to just say a big thanks for being here because, you know, like this, I've lived in the city almost all my life, and this is only the first year I've ever been in the museum. But, you know, I just want to say thank you to my friend Tom, because he's got that good heart and that good spirit, you know. Mike 1. Okay, we're back. So, hopefully it sticks around. But anyways, what I was saying is that simple thing that we just got to do, which is just acknowledge the river. You know, the river, Tom Porter is here, he's a writer, and actually Tom Cull brought him in a couple weeks ago, and he just brought home this point that I've always known, but he really wanted to drive it home. He said, when we talk about the mother of the earth, we're not talking about a metaphor. That's our mother. That's it. There's no metaphor there. And it's the same with the river. When we talk about a spirit of the river, you know, that's not like a hokey, like, metaphysical thing, you know. Just go down to the river. It's there. It's moving. And, you know, I'm really happy that people remember the name of Deshkan Ziibi. You know, that's the Anishinaabe name. But if you want to know the name of a river, you know, like, it sounds really silly, but just go down and ask it. You know, like, it does speak. That's what we call that river. That's not its name. It's got a name. But, okay. Well, I think I'm going to play a little song then. That's my guitar pick. Okay. But I had Tom introduce me as a guitar because he said, what do you want me to introduce you as? And I said, I don't really want to be a musician. I don't know if I know my instrument well enough to call myself a musician. And I didn't know if I could call myself a poet because I only ever read that one poem. So I didn't know what to say. So, but he asked me, and I said, so Gitchada means warrior. So we call our soldiers. But the thing is, the word warrior, it doesn't mean like to go fight. It means a good heart. Well, Gitchada comes from O'Day, and it's like that's that root word. It means to have a good heart. The point is, if you're a soldier, that you're supposed to be the kindest and the best of us, you know. And you know, one of my teachers just taught me it's like that's what we are right now, and that's what we need. You know, in a world where people are so wicked and awful, you know, and so rude and unkind to each other, you know, the thing that we don't need is men who know how to kill each other, but men who, you know how to have peace. And so, you know, I got taught that this week. It made me feel real cool because I didn't know I could call myself that, but now I know.
kiss on the banks of Deshkan Ziibi, shooting up and watching TV. Oh, how did it begin? And how will it end? Oh, in my little home, rectangle and all alone. Don't own a telephone. And sit back and watch the news. Red skin and red blues. I know I'm a liar. Okay, but we lost the empire. Oh, I hope that you don't leave me. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. And down to the graves, each one a friend I wish to save. Getting drunk and watching TV on the banks of Deshkan Ziibi. Oh, I ain't got no regret. Still alive and ain't dead yet. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't have any more songs, but I do have a couple more words though, which is I just want to say a sincere thank you to everyone here. It's such a weird thing to be sitting in this way, like in front of everyone, like in this way back, you know, but to remember that even when we sit in this way, that we need to sit in that circle. I grew up very, very angry and very, very upset with a lot of things that have happened to myself, you know, and something I hear all the time is, you know, an Anishinaabe person, a Haudenosaunee person is like, you know, get over it. I hear that all the time when I've never even said anything, you know, and I hear that sentiment all the time, but what's there to get over? And I grew up really, really angry, you know, and it's still there. I'm still angry, but it's different. But my Nokumis taught me, my Nokumis is like my best friend. It's my grandma, you know, and she taught me really, really, really deeply. She says, you need to look at the truth, and the truth is all of us, and all of us in that circle. And she says, this country continues and continues to come back to like our ways of being, and not the other way around. That this land is coming around to like the way that we used to understand it, which is just a simple way of being, a love for each other and a love for the land. You know, the area that we're in, you know, they call it the dish with one spoon, because it was, you know, a long time ago. I come from two nations. It couldn't be more different. It's like England and France, you know. And they made this deal, and it was to acknowledge this area as the dish with one spoon, that we all share from this dish, and we all have one spoon, so we all take from it what we need. But that there's going to be no knives around this, you know, around this dish. so that we can't hurt each other even by accident. You know, and I get so frustrated when I think about how quickly my community has been shrunk, how quickly and how much that we've lost in a few generations like that. And it fills you with anger and sadness, you know. But the other side of that is this place continues to be that place for all nations of people, that dish with one spoon. Continually, this area continues to draw all nations of people in all different ways of being. And we don't have to be at odds with each other, you know. And for me, I think it's about getting back to what we all know. And that we all have a relationship to each other. That's not a thing that we have to like start to acknowledge. That's just a fact of life. But another thing is, beyond the relationships we have with each other, we need to acknowledge the relationships that we have with the land. And it's just simple with that river. And I really do mean it, you know, for anyone who is lost or those things, like if you want to get reconnected, you know, just go ask those questions, go down to that river. And that river's been that for people in this city forever. You know, not just First Nations people, but for everyone here. Well, anyways, I can talk all day, but I should probably wrap her up. So anyways, I just want to say Chimigwech. My name is Vara Keesis Nadjiwon. I'm from Neoshingaming, but I'm also from Deshkan Ziibi, Miigwech.
Hi again. So with that fantastic, please, one more round of applause for Keesis. I knew when I was having this last Poet Laureate Presents, there's been a whole series over the last 2 years that I've been Poet Laureate, and I knew that my final act, the final person that I wanted to work with was Keesis. So thank you so much for sending us off with that music and your thoughts as well. About Deshkan Ziibi. Thank you all for coming. This concludes the programming for Poet Laureate Presents River of Words. Again, thank you to the London Arts Council, our funders. Thank you to all the wonderful musicians and poets, multimedia artists, and fantastic people who came together and collaborated on this great project.